Hello everyone, and welcome back to Smart Spiritual Solutions. In this channel, we use the Bible to solve everyday problems and improve our overall lifestyle. In this video, I want to discuss the idea of being patient in tribulation, as it is something that is much easier said than done. However, before I start this, there are a few things that I first have to clarify. First, what is patience exactly in this context? Well, patience is the ability to continue doing what's right, even if what we are desiring has not yet happened yet. And what kind of tribulation is it? Well, the kind of tribulation I'm talking about is the kind that we face because of our righteousness, because obviously, if we are suffering for our own mistakes and misdeeds, then there is no reward for taking it patiently, as St. Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 20. So therefore, the time where patience is very important is when we are suffering for our righteousness, because in these times, we have to endure it. However, tribulation doesn't have to be people beating us up because we're righteous, like maybe it was in the days of old, but tribulation can also be how we are living in a world that is currently becoming more and more secular, as stated in Matthew chapter 24, verses 12 and 13. So it is only through patience that we will be able to wait out the troubles that will come to our faith as a result, and stick with God. And once we do this, we will be able to be spared and saved by God, as Jesus Christ said in that verse. However, of course, being patient in tribulation isn't as easy as it may sound, so for those who are struggling with this, here are some solutions. So, first, if we find ourselves in tribulation, we should try to find out why tribulation happens in our lives, and of course, the Bible can provide answers. The scriptures let us know that the reason why God lets tribulation come into our lives is to build our faith. As James the Apostle said, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience." So, if we happen to be experiencing trouble, we shouldn't think that, God has left us, but instead see it as an opportunity to build our faith and get closer to God. And if we trust in God, He can help us overcome the problems that we are facing. As St. Paul said, "But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." So it is always good to understand the reason behind our troubles and also pray to God to help us overcome what we are facing. The second thing I think we should all do to help us be more patient in tribulation is to just look at the scriptures and see what happened to people who were impatient. Demas, for example, was not patient. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10, we see how he forsook Paul because he lusted after the wool that was right in front of him at that very moment, and because of his impatience, forsook what God had in store for him. And obviously, he probably lost out in the end, because once he did this, we never heard from Demas again or any of the great things that he did, because he probably didn't do any. It's not only Demas, but the Israelites were also impatient because they were unable to endure the challenges that they were facing in the wilderness and saw it as maybe their lives were finished. So they started to turn to other gods like Baal or whatever gods they saw other people worshipping, and even tried to turn backwards to Egypt at one point, despite all the promises that God had for them. And because of their impatience, they were punished various times throughout their journey. In contrast, we should be like Abraham, who, even though he had to wait dozens of years to get a child, and he got the child when he was very old, he was still patient in those years he did not have a child and maintained his faith in God. And we should also copy Job's example too, because he had received some of the worst situations imaginable, but still maintained patience and his integrity through hardship, as we see in Job chapter 27, verse 5. And furthermore, James the Apostle even said that we should learn from the patience of Job in James chapter 5, verses 10 and 11, due to the great example that he showed. Then the third and final step is that before we do anything major, we should always think it through fully and give ourselves time to assess it, to prevent ourselves from just acting on our impatience and making the wrong decision. If we find ourselves in trouble and are considering doing something that God doesn't like, we should always remember the previous two solutions that I gave and try our best to make the right decision, because sometimes the best things in life don't always come first. So it is better to always trust in God and wait for the best. As King David said, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, that he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." On top of all this, it is only through maintaining patience in tribulation that we will be saved. It was said by Jesus Christ, "Stand firm, and you will save yourselves." That is Luke chapter 21, verse 19, in the Good News Bible. But anyway, I think this will suffice for discussing how we can be patient in tribulation, what steps we can take to achieve that. If you have enjoyed this video, I'll greatly appreciate if you hit that like button and that subscribe button. And finally, to click the notification bell so you'll be aware of when we come out with another spiritual advice video. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.